Something very odd's going on in this building. I'm very worried about it.
The robots are taking over.
They really are.
We're back. Conspiracy Corner, Khal, Frazier. Illustrious guest in the building.
Illustrious.
You know him from Preacher, season 3 on AMC. Dominic Cooper, thank you for coming through.
Very nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming to our, what'd you call it?
It's a very strange place.
Well, you were commenting on there's desks around with no people.
Yeah, they've got rid of all human beings here. It's quite good in a way. You don't have to interact with anyone. There's lots of desks out there, but they're all empty.
Yeah, it's weird around
There's a few chairs, yeah, and then you just type things into the machines. But I was relieved to see human beings in here.
Yeah,
this is where they hide us.
Yeah, we're literally hiding us in the basement.
Got 3 floors of no human beings though.
The work gets done. That's the thing.
Wow.
That's the trade secret, bro.
It's the simulation.
Tell me.
Yeah, I don't make enough money to know how that work gets done. I just know the stuff ends up on the site. Like I said, we're talking about Preacher, season 3 this Sunday. When you get these scripts, are you kind of just like, what the fuck are you guys having us do now? Like,
yeah, every time.
Yeah.
Every time. It never ceases to amaze. But actually, I went into the writer's room early on to just experience the lunacy, the madness, and it is a bunch of people kind of sitting around coming up with as crazy idea as they possibly could. And I think that's definitely been their decision this season. I think the first one, they embedded the story in some reality because the comic was so kind of beyond anything anyone could understand if they just came to it like that. Yeah. And the second one, they sort of introduced some of the characters from the comic, and now they've just said, it's like, let's just do anything. And the more shocking and the more surprising and the more different it is from anything else, the better. It's fine for all the writers to come up with this stuff, and then you have this producer having you see him get handed the script and has a meltdown on the spot. Like, how are we going to film this? Yeah. We can film it in 8 days. It needs to go that far and be that peculiar because the comic is, and it needs to do justice to that, I think. So
100%.
I'm hoping that this season particularly is more elaborate and peculiar than ever.
It definitely feels like it's also going to be darker. Is that fair to say?
How's that even possible?
We're introduced to Jesse's family because he goes back, he's desperate to get Tulip back to life, and it's the place that he'd like least to go, you know. It really frightens, it's just not a lot terrifies him, but it's memories of quite a nasty childhood and some of the things that they do or did to him in that house, or the kind of, yeah, the punishments that he experienced. And it's certainly for me, the more I play Jesse, the more I realise what lies beneath and why this entity can exist within him. And the evil is there, and it comes from that side of the family, which is the grandmother. And I hope we're going to continue to go further with this to show his capacity for evil, actually. Although he's a man trying desperately hard to right the wrongs of his past, you can understand from his background why he's the man he is.
Can you talk about Jesse's growth? I mean, we're seeing a totally different guy in season 3. I shouldn't say totally different, but a very different guy in season 3 as opposed to season 1. Can you talk to us about how you see his progression going from season 1, episode 1 through, you know, where he's at in season 3?
It's been an interesting one. He's been quite difficult as someone to play, and there's so many different sides to him. I suppose the person I thought he was at the beginning is someone very different now. And he was a man in search of bettering himself. He returned to a place that he thought was a home. He went to be a preacher and was terrible at it. He tried to follow his father's path, and he was really lost, a kind of alcoholic, desperate mess, really. And then he acquires this power. And he doesn't handle that particularly well either. I think he doesn't really know. He believes it's for him, and he becomes very arrogant. And then he loses it again. So he's a man that's gone from being all-powerful to not very useful at all, and he makes some terrible decisions. He's guilty for the death of his girlfriend. He's terrible to his best friend. I mean, he's a really flawed character. But in this season, I think he's really trying to make amends again, and he's having to look bad, but for the sake of saving others. And he kind of does a half-decent job of it.
From episode 1, I remember distinctly the scene with the fight in the bar, where you know, he's breaking bones and like he's got that like subtle.
That was a really good kind of reveal of who the man is, actually. Yeah, you see him suddenly getting huge amounts of pleasure from the violence, and that's again that all relates back to the season we've just done of his past. But yeah, that smile said everything about him.
How hard is that to play? Because it's not a straightforward anti-hero. It's like a lot of constantly shifting motivations and
he's been a tricky one. I've got it, and I always felt, I suppose, quite a lot of pressure just because it has the comic itself has kind of a cult following in a way, and people that know the comic really know the comic, and they it's a very big part of their life. So, and I know what I'm doing is very different from how people imagined it, and that was always felt like a responsibility. And but it's fun. I mean, ultimately, the more challenging and the more different ways in which you can play different moments. But he's also very stoic, and he's also like he's quite a quiet character actually. He's like in his and to play amongst such kind of chaos and comedy, you know, being next to near Cassidy or near, you know, Tulip's such a kind of hard nutter, and I often find it quite difficult being.
You're like the straight man.
Yeah, I'm the straight man, and that's really hard. Sometimes I just think I'm being really boring. Don't agree with that.
No, but you mentioned
you're the grounding presence.
Oh, yeah, grounding presence. I like it. Yeah.
A lot of people remember you from being Howard Stark years ago. Do fans of that era in your career, do they still come up to you and talk to you?
Yeah, definitely. Probably more so than anything. I mean, we did the TV thing after, but I loved playing that character. But it was just such a shame. I speak to the producer on the Marvel films quite a lot, and I'm like, get him back in, how? Like, please do. And they nearly did, but it's just so unfortunate because it's sort of trapped because
in the past, yeah.
He's trapped in the past, and they've already had him as in the future.
Yeah, how's it feel to be played by John Slattery?
Yeah, exactly. So it's great because he's brilliant. He couldn't look more different, but it's completely ridiculous. But I don't know if I can come up with something, or if we can write some theories or something. Like, there's a way, but I can't think what it is, and maybe he.
We'll get one of the holograms on it.
We'll get the holograms
Marvel
on it.
Phase 4 pitch out there.
You mentioned having fun with the character, and we want to play a fun little game right now. There's people, I mean, contrary to popular belief, there are people that work here.
Yeah.
And when they hear that, you know, people are coming in, they'll
turn into holograms.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Okay, good.
No, they want us to ask you some questions, or we're going to give you some questions that they want to have answered in a section we like to call Asking for a Friend. I'm going to shake this up a little bit. If you could just reach into the fishbowl
grab
and grab one.
So hold on, these are things that you've written down that you're pretending the people out there that don't exist.
I promise you, I've not written any
They
of these
wrote
down.
it and they went and hid.
When they heard you were in.
Oh.
Okay. Got an interesting one.
I like that look.
Oh. I mean, not sharing it. Interesting. Theorists believe the Roswell crash of 1947 gifted the world with technology. What technology did we get from that ship? Am I meant to know that?
I mean, what do you think?
Oh, yeah, okay. Pretty aggressive. Am I meant to know that? I mean, is one of those fake people out there written this and I'm meant to know it?
They know. They want to know if you know.
Okay, this was Roswell crash. Doesn't really make any sense. I can understand it. Ah! So I can understand it a bit. What's that? Why is that? What's that? Hold on. Don't say anything out loud. Am I right in saying that was the...
Yeah.
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 As in the...
Yeah.
Roswell?
Yeah.
As in... Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I reckon the technology it maybe gave us... can I choose another one?
Sure.
I don't know what any of that means. I like this game. You're in a forest and hear a sound. When you turn, it's a person of your choice, shivering and wet.
I promise, I didn't write any of these.
Well, who is it and what have they done? I can only think of something filthy to say on that one, I'm afraid.
That's fine.
Those are the best answers.
That is fine.
Read the question one more time out loud, though.
You're in a forest and hear a sound. When you turn, it's a person of your choice, shivering and wet. Who is it and what have they done? Well, I'd immediately say... No, I can't. This is just to lead me into bad things. Bad. I can only come up with something absolutely outrageous for that one.
It's almost like you called them there.
With the Roswell technology.
Yeah.
Teleportation.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't. Is it someone that I could then, someone I really hate and then could beat the crap out of? In a forest and don't get found out?
Yeah.
No, that's quite violent. That sounds horrible.
I mean,
I don't really understand. What would I do? I'd give them a cuddle. Someone nice, someone I fancy. Do you say that? Do you use that term, yeah? Fancy?
No, I'm familiar with it. I don't use it personally.
You do?
I could.
So you know what it means?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
I don't know.
I fancy you, Khal.
Do you?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Do you? No, I mean, that's quite cool.
I'm going to put this away.
I was so bad at that. No, I'm just terrible at stuff like that.
how committed you were to really think.
No, that's. I mean,
I know.
It lets us know that you're very serious. You're not going to take anything lightly.
I'm not, but it really showed that I had absolutely no imagination whatsoever right at the end.
It's fine. Dominic Cooper, Preacher, AMC.
You nearly didn't remember the name of it, which was brilliant. If we'd all forgotten and not being able to come out with it. I was calling it The Preacher for
Were you really?
a year and a half, yeah.
The
The
Preacher?
Preacher's a little bit more dramatic.
I liked it.
Do they ever call you The Preacher? They just call you Preacher.
Yeah, they never say. I don't know where I got that from.
The kids just yell Preacher at you.
Which one?
The ones in the show.
Oh, yeah.
What were you going to talk? Sundays, AMC.
Yeah, Sundays, Preacher, 24.
Preacher season 3, June 24th. Watch it, all of you.
Yeah.
Every
People
week.
out there.
Every week. Yeah, you've got to stick to it, haven't you?
DVR.
What's the DVR?
TiVo.
Video on demand, something.
VHS. Betamax.
Maybe.
I never.
Whoa.
If you could find a Betamax that has new episodes of TV, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, bring Betamax back.
VHS was awesome though.
VHS, yeah.
Yeah, I love VHS.
I don't.